Welcome to Chicago, baby. Yeah, we are picking up and delivering. Well, we already delivered the car, but we are driving trade and back. It's a little messed up. It's got a check engine and airbag malfunction and the tires and rotors, but hey, that's what we're here to fix and make sure everything's all good. That's why we're here, to sell fun vehicles to people who want something newer and better and don't necessarily want to replace the one they have, but they don't want to take it in for repairs. And I get it, a newer vehicle always drives better. I can tell you, the one that I drove down there drove a heck of a lot better. And with that said, I'm very excited. It's a late night deal. The lane is ending and people are driving like crazy in Chicago. So we're staying focused. And today we're talking about SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, saying he has less than $100,000, maybe, because that's when he last checked it. Could be at zero. So there was a recent interview today with Sam Bankman-Fried, New York Times. This was live. There was an event going on. There was a journalist interviewing SBF, and SBF essentially said, I didn't mean to do fraud. And a lot of people were responding, well, it doesn't matter if you meant it or not. Maybe Bernie Madoff didn't mean it, but you did commit fraud. At least that's what a lot of the comments are. And it is possible that he is facing a series of charges. Also, what came out today is that he had massive donations, both for the Republican Party and the Democrats. And one thing to set straight is a lot of people are saying, well, it's because he's bribing them and it's because he's paying everybody off. That's why he's not in jail. No, it's because it takes a while before there's indictments, and especially when you're dealing with extradition from the Bahamas to the U.S., there's a couple layers to deal with here. It is so freezing that when I got back to the dealership and started my car, it's just frozen solid, everything. So SBF has donated a ton of money, probably FTX in total, $75 million to both political parties. And he was actually, in some books, the number 3 top Republican donor. And you might be wondering, well, why was he donating to both? That's because he had his political interests at heart, and he was lobbying for crypto, and mainly for his own company, for his own good. And he knew that if he did enough political lobbying, first of all, he would have on his side quite a bit. Okay, we're stuck at a railroad crossing, so it is definitely helping him. Anytime you have political contributions, it will always help. Now, is it completely corrupt? No, there's a judicial system in place, that there's a set of policies, and eventually if he is to be charged and expatriated back to America, that will happen. Now, in terms of where the money went, that's a good question, because he could completely be lying, or he could be telling the truth. Maybe he does only have $100,000 in his bank account. Just like a billionaire going through bankruptcy, they may not have a lot of money, technically, on paper, but they might have millions of dollars hid away with friends and family. Or with offshore accounts, just like with him living in the Bahamas and having political connections and friends in the Bahamas. He might know a couple people on the Cayman Islands and a couple other nearby places where he's able to put his millions of dollars in, and maybe a couple million with his parents, a couple million with friends, a couple million with other co-workers, some top executives from FTX, and he will be forever rich. Now, I don't certainly buy that he went from $997 million to suddenly less than 100,000. So if you had, let's say, even $1 billion, but he had 16 billion at one point. Now, of course, he can't materialize at all, because if you start selling, even at the peak, people would freak out. But he'd still have a couple billion. But let's just say 1 billion. Where would you put that money? Where would you go? Would you stay in the Bahamas? And that's the $1 million question. What will happen to him? Where did the money go? We won't ever fully know. But with that said, have a good rest of your night. Take care. Bye.